We good? All right, I am calling the Village Board of Trustees meeting of June 27th to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartman.
Present.
Trustee Bratton.
Present.
Trustee Brunner.
Here.
Trustee Berkeley.
Here.
Trustee Polakowski. Trustee Calmater.
Here.
President Linko.
Here. Let's stand for a pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're at public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the village board on any issue. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes. While the village board encourages input from residents, it may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. Do we have any public? I don't know, you guys can tell if there's someone on there or not. But no hands up or?
There's 5 participants.
Yeah.
All right, we're at the consent agenda. Upon request of any trustee, any item may be removed from the consent agenda for separate consideration under general business. Does anybody have anything they'd like to separate? All right, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. All right, report, village officers, village president. I've got a couple things I just want to shoot through quickly. First, any item from future items that have a finance part to them, after we discuss the item or whoever brings it up, gives an overview, we'll turn it over to Bobby to give us information on the finance part of it, if it's part of the budget, or options on how to pay for it. So we don't get to the end and then we find out, okay, how are we going to pay for it? So that'll be up ahead of time. She's aware of that. The other thing, on August 9th, once the flyer gets totally approved, we're having a shred event for the village. Monona Bank is going to cover the cost. We're going to do it down here at Village Hall. It'll run just like the recycling, electronic recycling and Metal Mania. It'll be August 9th from 3:30 to 5:30. That's a Tuesday. That's the same day of the election. So it should be easy to remember. So you can bring up, you'll see the flyer. We'll send it out to everybody, but basically 3 paper boxes worth of stuff, and we'll shred it right here in the parking lot. And that'll also go towards our recycling numbers. The other thing is, for some of the new members, last fall, we approved 2 pilot programs with our leaf collection. We were not able to do the first pilot program because we were short-staffed. Jerry feels that they have the staff to do it, so we'll be doing our pilot program of picking up leaves curbside, and I can send that to the new members, the report on it. But there's a part of town that we're gonna do a test and survey and figure out the pros and cons and the costs of running that program. So you'll be hearing about that. And then the last is, I do have an opening on the finance committee. So if you have someone that would be interested or would be good for that, let me know. Meetings are very short. A lot of the work is done on their own time, and it's more research and analytics of the finance of things. So if you have anybody in mind, let me know. That's all I have. Vice President.
I don't really have anything at the moment. One thing that was, somebody had asked me if we can send to safety, if for their crosswalks on Main Street, if there's any kind of grants or anything that we can get more lights, because they feel like the crosswalks without the lights the people don't stop as often. I don't know,
No,
but that
that's
was
true.
just, yeah. So somebody had asked if there were grants. They weren't asking, they just said, can that go back to safety? And
I can put it on the agenda, but I
What?
think there's a spacing they're done, it's.
Because this was brought up once, I think DOT's, you gotta get
Oh.
permission from DOT, it's a
Okay.
US highway. That's what we ran, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you got it.
Yeah, because I
okay.
brought that same thing up,
Okay, never
DOT
mind.
doesn't want any more.
Okay,
so.
well, they've got to stop anyway.
No, it's, like I say, I agree, the one right across, right by the car dealership
Yeah.
is used a lot, and I
That's the
use it a
one.
lot, and you're right. Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, any other trustees have a report they'd like to share? Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, just an update from sustainability. Everybody on the committee is very excited to do a bit of research and try and make some headway on some recommendations potentially on, or just big storm ideas on ways to make a village hall, new police station sustainable. And, some of the new creative ways in which Dane County municipalities and others are doing that stuff. And potentially making ours a flagship brother to follow. So we're looking forward to that. And then I have an update from the library board that I'd like to share as well. It's a very brief email I'm going to read here for a hot second. This is from a resident who was responding to some of the books that were displayed on the walk here at in the creek.
Oh, okay, along the fence there?
Yep, on the fence there. And I'll leave names out. It says, "Hi, I'm SM, he, him, and I just want to thank you for the beautiful display of the book Pride Puppy on Black Earth Creek and Cross Plains. I used to go to your library all the time when I was little. I went by a different name and pronouns then. LOL, you might remember me and my younger brother H and my dad C, who would take us there to play with trains and read books after school. I'm 17 now, 18 in July. It's crazy looking back at how much I've grown since I used to flip through your Dr. Seuss books and spend long summer afternoons in your beanbags. As a gay trans man, it was so beautiful to see Pride Puppy displayed at the park when I was walking my dog last night. It brought me to tears how loving and accepting your community is. I wish that I could have read a book like that when I was younger. Thank you so much for still making my day 10 years later. I'm so glad that I got to grow up at your library. Sincerely, SM." I bring up that letter because the contents of our last meeting was centered around, I don't know how to refer to it better than just like a serial book hider who has been taking books off the shelves that relate to LGBTQIA issues and hiding them in cushions or underneath furniture and all parts of the library. And so librarians have been finding these books that deal with some of these issues. And so the contents of our meeting centered around coming up with a policy as far as book challenges are concerned, because somebody's taken it into their own hands in their own community to do that by themselves. And so one of the issues that we're all experiencing, whether it's at state or national level, is book challenges that are coming from outside of our community or within our community. And so the library board is currently drafting a proposal for the process for that to take place so that people who have legitimate concerns, which people do, can be heard in a way that they're going to feel heard, but yet at the same time does not hijack our librarian staff that is already very limited in time with some of those concerns. So that's why I shared the letter first, because clearly there are people in our community who very much appreciate having access to the freedom of information. I think the library is the cornerstone of our democracy. And so I'd like to thank Pamela again for doing what she does at the library.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? All right, village administrator, Brian.
I just wanted to let the board know that I have been in touch with each of the entities that we've contracted with regarding the Bourbon Road site testing. So those two different companies have either begun the official on-site test or they're in the process of getting that scheduled. So more to come on that. Again, both have stated that they will have their respective results provided to me in advance of our next board meeting. So we have all the pertinent data to review and make decisions regarding that site. So that will be brought at the next meeting. The other item I just wanted to give you a quick update on. We have started to hold some preliminary discussions as department heads here in the village related to the upcoming budget cycle. Some of the things behind us here on the board, which I can speak to you about after the fact, were some of the consensus agreements that we came up with for focus needs within the areas of staffing within the village, as well as important projects, capital improvement project priorities. So I'm happy again to share some of that with you afterwards here. We did have some consensus agreements on areas to focus with the growth of the village in mind at the present time, just trying to bring, staff compensation in line with other communities, as well as getting some needed areas addressed within departments like the police department and the library right now, where they're running at some perceived deficits of staff. So again, I'm happy to discuss that with you all and discuss more as we get into the go-on budget cycle.
Can I just, there will be a report, right? For us, a formal report summarizing.
Correct. We're going to have
just so you-
one more meeting, and then
Okay.
I'll have something put together to give everybody.
Okay, my concern is if there's more than, if there's 4 people and you start discussing that, we're gonna be in violation. So yeah, I would prefer that you wait until you have a formal document, we put it on the agenda, and then we discuss it. Just a warning. All right, other reports. All right, we'll go to general business. First one, discussion and possible action on approval of Becky Ward for full-time village employment beginning July 4th, 2022 at the village board agreed rate of pay. You want to summarize?
I'm so sorry, Mike. I missed Mike. Exit here. Something to share.
Oh, okay.
Apologize. I missed that.
Sorry about that. I was unable to get my my hand up there. Are you okay with me giving a quick report?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to get the board up to speed on a couple of the capital projects, obviously, that are going on within our parks. The pickleball courts, the first one, pickleball basketball. Asphalt has been in place now for a few weeks, and we are now working towards. We now have a fence company contracted with, and also a painting company. So I'm hoping that this project comes to fruition and is in completion by the end of July is kind of what we're shooting for. As of right now, the project is completely on budget and or maybe even a little below it right now. So it's looking pretty good to get it completed and get this to become another important piece of the quality of life for our community. The second thing is the playground over in the Viridian neighborhood. Glaciers Ridge neighborhood. That playground bid has been approved. Obviously, we went through with Burke. Burke has had some changes within their salespeople, and they didn't get this stuff ordered once we had it signed. So all the equipment now has been ordered on June. It was ordered on June 6th. However, I don't have a date of when that equipment will be delivered and or installed. And as soon as I get that, I'll get that out to the neighborhood so that they're aware of that as well. Lastly, Jerry and I, along with Evan from Town and Country and Portson, which is the construction company that we'll be going with for well 2 and 3 that the board has already approved. We had our pre-con meeting on Friday of last week, Friday morning, and it was a great meeting. We're kind of moving forward now on the sense of picking colors for both, or mainly for well 3, which is the one that's out at Hofelder Park. I have scheduled a meeting for this Thursday at 6 p.m. More or less a community visioning meeting once again, but mainly with the neighborhood out there so that they're able to look at color samples that have been given to us, that were given to us on Friday morning, so that we can make a decision on those colors. The only thing and the only real question I have for the board is how we want to go about, if you're okay with staff making that decision, for us to go ahead and choose the color scheme to give to Portson so that they can make that order, or if you want to have a special scheduled meeting for the board itself to make that decision following the visioning discussion with the neighborhood.
I personally think that can be handled by staff, but
Completely agree.
all right, we're good. Just move forward, get the input from the neighborhood and keep it moving.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Any other questions?
Are you gonna offer pickleball lessons for anybody when the sport gets completed?
Most definitely. We have a number of people that have been contacting us, wondering when they're going to be opening. We also have a number of people in the community that are willing to give free lessons and free programming as we move forward with this program. So it should be pretty exciting.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, we'll go back to general business. First one was the discussion and possible action on approval of Becky Ward for full-time village employment beginning July 4th, 2022 at village board agreed rate of pay. Do you want me to just summarize this real
Yeah,
quick?
please.
For those who remember, we had this discussion as part of the 2022. It was approved that she would move to full-time. When we were just talking about some cuts to bring down the rate, if you remember, Kevin did a proposal as a compromise of starting her at July 4th, so we say half the year. I guess it wasn't clear in the minutes or on the tape that we actually approved that plan, even though I thought most of us thought that was the plan. So what this is just to confirm what we had decided back in November. So could I have a motion, please?
Yeah, I would move to approve Becky Ward for full-time village employment beginning on July 4th, 2022. The village board agreed rate of pay.
Can we just change that to the position, not her name,
Sure. To administrative assistant.
please?
I would move to approve the approval of administrative assistant to full-time village employment beginning July 4th, 2022. The village board agreed with rate of pay.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? And just for everybody to know, it's in the budget. So this is not an added, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So this, like I say, it was all built into the budget. It's just trying to get some. Okay, any discussion? Go ahead, Michael.
I guess my only thing is, it says a new pay rate of $19 to $20 an hour. Do we need to specify, or was that already decided?
The budget was 19.
Okay, I just was asking because in the packet thing, it said 19 to 20, like that was something we had to decide.
No,
Okay, I just wasn't
didn't
sure.
remember what it was, but we
Yeah, I think I
we
was on
had
vacation
decided.
last week, and so I think Brian didn't know, so he put it
Oh,
in range.
okay,
but it
so-
is 19.
Okay, if that's already known.
Any other questions? All right, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Polanowski,
Yes.
trustee Hartman,
Yes.
trustee Borfund,
Yes.
trustee Brunner,
Yes.
trustee Bratton,
Yes.
trustee Kettlebaiter,
No.
president Lightfoot.
Yes. Okay, number 2, discussion and possible action regarding the approval / renewal of the following license classes for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2023. We're going to do them one letter at a time. The first question I have, were there any requests for any separations in any of the categories? Okay, that would be for the clerk, and that's how the state statute is. Anybody can ask for a separation. Otherwise, we'll be doing them as all. So we're just basically renewing all these different types of licenses. All right. Do I have a motion? We'll start with letter A. Do I have a motion for the cigarette and tobacco products retail license?
I would move to approve that cigarette and tobacco products retail license for A.
I will second that.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same.
I motion to approve the Class A intoxicating liquor and Class A fermented malt beverages.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. C,
I move to approve the Class B intoxicating liquor and Class B fermented malt beverages.
Second.
all right, I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. So moved. Letter D,
I move to approve the operators bartenders licenses.
Second.
all right, I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. All right. Number 3, Discussion and possible action regarding residential chicken coop license application from 1992 Lewis Street.
I move to approve said license from 1992 Lewis Street.
I second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. We're at discussion. My only question is she aware that this is going to be changed in the July meeting? And you won't have to jump through. So what?
I guess I wasn't aware that it was getting changed, so I didn't let her know it was getting changed.
So are you charging her the $50 and the $10 for administrative?
I
'Cause
think
that's
she's
what our
just
fee is.
paid the $10 so far.
What's that?
I think she's just paid the $10 so far, the application fee.
All right, see what we have, just so everybody knows, the current ordinance is a $10 application and then $50 for a 5-year license. Part of that is Brian has to go out and contact the neighbors around to see if they are opposed to it. I'm guessing that has not happened.
No,
No,
that's part of the thing. We
the
did
setup's
that.
already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did that.
Say it again?
It's done.
Yes, that's done.
Who did it?
I did it.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm
As
just,
a clerk, that was my job.
okay, I'm just trying to, I'm just going through it so we don't have a conflict. So what will be coming in July is we're modifying all of that.
So just like the fee structure? or-
Yeah, it's going to a regular license, just like a dog license. We're no longer gonna go and ask neighbors permission. The number of birds are going up. So there's a number of things. We'll have a public hearing at the Tuesday meeting, actually a week from today or tomorrow. So I just wanted to know what you charged her, because I don't wanna,
Okay, yeah, so far
Rip
she's
her
paid the
off for-
application fee.
okay.
Were we gonna, is it $50 to do the, like, asking all the neighbors?
No, that was the $10 application fee. Then you paid $50 for the license.
Okay,
And the change is $10 a year like a dog, right?
Right, and no application fee, because the application fee was to cover the administrative cost of going to the neighbors.
So once this is approved,
She's good for a year, yeah.
but
But
Well,
this is still
they
the
have to
old
pay
one.
$50, right? Once it's approved.
yeah, that's why I'm
yeah.
throwing this out. I'm
Well,
trying,
so the actual application says it's only good for a year. But
I
our fee
know,
schedule says-
that's the problem with read our ordinance. That's why we want to change it. Right now, the ordinance says $50. And it's good for 5 years. So that comes out to $10, but the application fee is only covering the administrative cost. It's very complicated. That's why we're trying to change it. So I'm trying to understand what, if we approve this to me, then she needs to pay us $50 under the current ordinance for the 5-year license, which in July will be only $10 and she'd be already taken care of. So.
would it
Well,
be?
can't we, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, could we amend this motion to approve it without the additional cost or something? Is that more complicated?
Well, you're violating the ordinance without
Okay.
going through the proper
Channels, sure.
way of process. Yes, Michael.
Is it possible that we approve it and she waits to pick up her permit till after it's approved at the July board meeting and wait on that fee? Because if it's gonna be adjusted,
I guess, yeah. I guess
Right.
the question I have is, does she already have the chickens or something, or I mean,
she shouldn't.
right,
But also, this is like putting her into a 5-year plan,
right. That's why I'm bringing it up, Andy. You're absolutely right.
which
That's why I wanted to know
isn't
what,
necessarily gonna like, it's not costing her more.
but
But-
she's limited to 4 chickens.
that's right. See,
Until it changes.
I don't want, I want her to be aware that potentially in July, things change. And I don't want her to feel that we ripped her off by saying $50, only 4 chickens, when in July, we're pretty confident it'll probably go to $10, 6 chickens. You know what I'm
But
saying?
when that happens, then
She could get more chickens. like
She can-
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
why don't we say?
the image.
Can we amend the motion to say that after at some point they could, they would have to come to the board and request that.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have an ordinance in place to not follow ordinance, you usually get a waiver or conditional permit, which require you to go to another committee, then back to the board. So I don't, you know,
Are we better off to table it?
well, that was gonna be, that's why I was trying to figure out where she was at in her process. Maybe she doesn't even have the coop yet or anything like that. That's why I was
By
trying.
a week? I mean, really, next week, so.
Well, I
Well,
feel like there might be people coming to planning commission's next meeting about this very issue.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I think what we should do, I guess I'm pretty comfortable if we have the public hearing and what comes out of the commission. It's probably gonna be somewhat solid. And we've talked about it so often, I just don't see big changes. This is just my feeling. There's other members here.
Can we approve it conditionally for 1 year?
No, you can't do it conditionally because that goes through plan.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a waiver or conditional use. The thing is, I guess I would ask, the best thing would be to postpone it to the July meeting. That would be the best solution, because then everything would be cleaned up and,
So after the July meeting, an individual's only gonna have to pay $10 to have chickens, like a dog license.
Yep.
Per year.
well, that's gonna be the most likely the recommendation. That was pretty solid. Because it's very complicated the way it is now. It doesn't make sense.
So this is my option. We approve this tonight. If she wants to pay the $50, that's her option to get the chickens earlier. She could wait till July and then she just says, okay, the ordinance has changed, walks in, says, here's my $10. And then she just gets the permit then with what? Because she doesn't have to pay the $50 for the permit. We're just saying we're giving her permission to buy the permit. We're not saying she has to pay for it, right?
Well, but she has to pay for it before she gets the chicken.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's her option though.
So why would, but if that's,
Can we vote?
If a chicken pokes someone and she doesn't have the permit and that person gets hurt, are we liable?
Well, no, but that's what we have to let her know, that she has to get the license or whatever it is, either way before she gets chicken.
so what you're suggesting to her, we approve this and then it's her option. If she wants to pay the $50 to be good now, or wait till the July meeting and just pay $10.
Yeah, I'll
Exactly.
approve it and communicate with her.
Right, say like,
Changes coming.
if you wait, if you
I
wait a
think that's
month,
fine.
it'll cost you $10 most likely. Versus if you want them now, you have to pay 50 because that's what the ordinance says.
I can live with that.
I would then amend my own motion, which I can, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, you're not amending it. What you're gonna do is do an amendment motion.
I'm gonna do an amendment motion that we approve the application for residential chicken coop license for 1992 Lewis Street. And then have village administration contact the resident to inform them of the changes that may potentially be occurring.
So really, your amendment is just to notify the person of the changes that potentially are coming.
Correct.
So, okay, do I have a second to that part?
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion on that? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. So now the amendment we're voting on is to approve this with the understanding that village staff will contact her and fill her in on the details of what's happening here. All right, all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. So moved. All right. Number 4, village board acknowledgement and acceptance of the 2022 village CMAR report. Jerry.
This is the 2022 village CMAR compliance maintenance annual report. It actually covers the year 2021. Brian's got it up on the screen there. If you look at the first page, which is what he's got up, we flunked. We've been flunking the last couple of years. Prior to this, for volume of water, 2021 was a dry year. The volume of water went down, but the BOD, biological oxygen demand loading, went up. And those two items work together. Water, when you have more water, via INI into the system, it dilutes the BOD. And when the water goes away, then the BOD level increases. Even though we failed this section, the reason for the failure is the design loading rating of the plant. And when the design loading was created back in '04, the village board at that time artificially deflated the number as a means to attempt to control growth. If you go to the next page, you'll see that our effluent, I guess it's the next section, I should have said. It's a couple pages down. Our effluent is fine. We're not having any problems meeting discharge limits. So we knew this was coming. We have a contract in place with Town and Country Engineering to do what is called a re-rating study for the wastewater plant to increase the amount of loading that the plant can accept. Exactly where that's going to come out, I don't know, but it's going to be probably in the neighborhood of about a 6,000 population, could be higher. So that will be addressed later this year. Said the contract's already in place. They're starting to work on it. The other section that we received some points in and got a C is the financial section. The only reason for that is we got 20 points because we have not modified our rate within the last 2 years. It's been 3 years. 2019 was the last time. And the DNR would prefer that you raise rates every couple of years. At this point in time, we do not need to raise the rates. So we're just going to take those points and be happy. So those are the highlights. We'll need a motion to accept the 2022 village CMAR. Then I have to, once that action takes place, then I have to submit this owner statement, and that needs to be done before the 3rd.
All right, thank you, Jerry. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Well, why don't you state it?
Okay, well, let me read it. Let's see,
Yeah,
where
just
is it?
To accept the,
I'll make the motion that we accept the 2022 Village CMAR report.
all right, do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Andy.
if you said that you kind of knew this was coming, I'm wondering why Town and Country didn't do this before the report came out. Is there a reason
We just approved the contract.
to do it?
Was that 2 months ago, I believe?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, so it's just a time issue. Okay, that's my
Well,
question.
and the water problem has been a problem for some time now.
Yeah, the
Can't-
DNR does not have as much of an issue with the INI and the volume of water causing the loading to be too high. They have more of an issue when it's the BOD. And the reason that it could have a negative impact on the village is we don't have anything on the books right now, but it could affect our ability to annex additional land for well.
Okay, that was my other question.
Any other questions, Michael?
Just real quick, Jerry, you say this is a contract with Town and Country to adjust these numbers. Is this, what does that mean? Is it mechanical things that are gonna change to re-rate it, or is it all an on paper thing?
This particular time, it's all on.
Okay, that's, so the plant was still fine. It's just you have to just change the numbers and the numbers are already there.
Well, there's a
mean-
whole approval process that has to go through the DNR for it. but
Right, but so it's not a lot of, it's academic changes rather than, again,
Yes.
that was my question for the contract. I was just wondering.
There's no physical changes coming to the plant.
Gotcha. And how much is that contract for? Do you remember?
Off the top of my head.
Okay, just curious.
I don't think it's too.
I mean,
If
it's,
I could throw out a number, if I read, and this is just, I thought it was 4,500, but I could be wrong.
yeah, okay, so it's just,
I could be, that might not be in the one contract,
But
for some
versus-
reason I remember
yeah.
something.
But versus upgrading the system that is installed in 2004, they could maybe have prevented this in the first place.
Well, what they did is, as Jerry said, they tried to control growth. So the sewer plant technically was, I think it was gonna come out to about 7,700.
Okay.
We rated it at 4,400 to slow
Mm.
growth, so one. But now we're getting close to that number, so it's
So
time
to-
to.
Okay.
And we had the butter factory that attorney, but you're right, in the city, there's options too for that at a much lower.
So reading this, just to clarify, so I understand, the entire amount of their hourly salary with sick days they haven't utilized will then be converted by the village into money they can utilize for healthcare premiums in the future.
Yes, it's just, they can only use it for health insurance through us. So it's
If
not
they
like,
maintain the current.
yeah, they can
Okay.
stay on our policy. It's not like they can go out and get their own and we pay for that. They have to stay on our policy. We
Sound-
pay for it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It is an amazing benefit. Well,
We should keep it, in fact. And I will argue that at the budget meeting when that happens.
Right now, we've got to just focus on the wording. That's what we're trying to adjust.
Just throwing it out there.
It definitely will be coming up because this year, that's one of the main topics for budget discussion is benefits. So we'll be looking at the whole benefit package and what Doug's group is also working on. So Michael,
I have a question. So before this was changed, did they only receive 10% of the number of 6 days accumulated? And that would be applied toward their health insurance also?
nope, it was the
'Cause
full amount. The
it was
10% was just if they wanted the cash payout.
Okay, that's where I was confused in reading it because it
so if you have 10,000,
didn't.
you can take cash, you get
1,000.
1,000 or take the 10,000 and use it to pay off insurance costs, health insurance.
That's what I wasn't sure of what
Yeah.
the way that
That's how.
that was defining that. It was kind of confusing. Okay.
Judy,
And we can roll over, we can keep accumulating as many sick days, like if they have 6 a year or whatever else, they can accumulate it till endless, like if they've been here 20 years and they never use a sick day, they get it for 20 years.
that's not how the city works. We cap it. What does the village have?
The village cap is 1,440 hours.
Yeah,
Oh,
we were at 1,200 at the city. Yeah, there's usually a cap.
I don't think in the state.
Once you get to that.
Yeah, oh no, well, the state, in the old
In the
state
old
didn't
state,
have one, like
right.
when my dad worked,
Right.
yeah, forever,
Right.
but I think they have a cap now. Yeah,
Well, whatever happens, once that cap is hit, there's no point in keeping your sick days, so you might as well use them. So, I mean, like, we also have to consider that there's a cost to that to the village if, I think we just need to do some analysis on whatever before we have that meeting, the budget, but
yeah, absolutely. All right, any other discussion on the wording of this then? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. So moved. Number 7, discussion and possible action regarding yard sign plan from the Public Safety Committee. Doug, you want to take us on this, please?
Sure. Yep, hopefully everybody had a chance to look at it and also look at the yard sign we're proposing. Our public safety committee has talked a lot about engaging our community residents in a more positive way. I'll just give a little example. We get a lot of complaints about inattentive driving. And when you look at the actual data, the only real accidents that occur are Highway 14, I repeat, for the most part, minor because the speed limits are lower. But we get a lot of complaints, and one of the big things that we want to do is engage the residents in our safety committee, our public safety process, because when it's happening at Valley and Brewery Road, or when it's happening at Esser Street and Valley Street, those are all our friends and neighbors. So we want to engage people in the safety process. Candace did the draft, the public safety committee had a couple word changes and just some wordsmithing. I think it looks well done and it's a positive reminder of some of the big things. You know, when people come from Madison or wherever they're coming from and do a little drive-by, they open doors, they check open doors on vehicles, and open doors on houses. That's one of the first reminders on there. We also want to find a way to engage people in a more positive way. They can catch someone doing something right and give it to this chief. He's done a really good job of social media, engaging and doing some positive posts. We want to continue to grow and build on that. The plan is to have 4 sponsors on the bottom. We already have 1 confirmed. We had 1 we thought was confirmed, but they backed out a little bit, but I think when we target a couple, I don't think we're gonna have additional sponsors. So the sign will be a front and back like that. I like the Village of Cross Point's logo on it. That's why we're asking the village to be a 1/4 sponsor of the sign. And our plan is to have them printed and start getting them on at National Mail.
Bobby, you want to talk about the finance part?
Sure, I identified several areas in the budget where we could move money around. One of the choices would be, we had savings from the administrator vacancy in their health insurance, so we could move $500 from there. The street lighting line item, I think we could easily take $500 from there. The chief had said, and there's an emergency management budget of 1,600. He thought we could take a couple hundred out of there, and then we could, pick and choose a couple hundred free,
And as a part of that, we did talk about that a little bit at PSC, and versus just having the village police, we thought it would be much better if the village of Cross Plains is the local.
Yeah,
So if there is, always partner with that, we can do that, but I like the Cross Plains, the committee like the whole village.
So my question would be, earlier this year, we received $9,000 or $9,500. The police department did for ARPA.
Mhm.
That is not brought back. I don't know where that money is. I'm thinking this would be an ideal way, unless there's some other plan for that money. This would be an ideal one because it's the whole community that's benefiting from it.
I don't know specifics, but I know Tony did have some ideas how to spend the money. That's all because I had asked him about that, something else, and he's like, oh no, I got the plan for that. So.
Well, okay, I think that needs to come to the board.
Right, yeah,
To me, that seems like an ideal funding for this project, at least because it's public safety. And that's what that was basically for, versus taking other money that we wouldn't be able to use the ARPA money for if something else comes up the rest of the year.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to double check on the uses of that grant if,
Well, maybe we can
Printing
put that on the
signs.
staff meeting. But it appears that that there are funds available. Okay,
Yeah, I don't think
Michael, did you want to say
$500 would be-
something?
problem.
I thought you raised your hand with your
Well, I
pen.
was gonna say, I was sure I think it's a great idea if you can find sponsors, help pay for it, or if the villages. My one thing with the sign, I think it looks all great. I don't know. Personally, I don't like encouraging village residents to keep their porch lights on. I think locking doors is a much more effective way to deter crime. Porch lights, talking to people, a lot of times they will cause nuisances for neighbors. So it's just whether or not the village wants to have a stamp on there encouraging a possible nuisance to be caused in neighborhoods.
If you feel unsafe in the dark, first thing you do is turn the light on. Same thing with your house. I leave mine on.
Understood?
Andy?
Yeah, I hear both those, and I say sustainability is working on this as well, ensuring that we don't have light pollution, also just like, erroneous use of light, and making sure that we're trying to come up with a policy and recommendation for the village board of sustainability about light, generally speaking, flooding into streets, et cetera, et cetera. So I would also suggest maybe just a different wording of that, if at all possible. And then I love the line, sorry, that was my critique. I love the line, capture the good and send a picture of the chief of police. I just think we need to be more specific with capture the good, hashtag da 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 da.
Anyone picking up food, take a picture and send it.
Right, that one too. We could also, we could do the negative as well, but I like to capture the good. I think that's a way to do it in a way that's like, hey, we're all community, we're here together, we can share that with each other. And then I think that's it.
And
Unless
I guess-
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Yes, if the village pays for it, I'm cool with that. If we can pull it out of a fund that's already been allocated, that's cool too. But I think this is a great idea. We should definitely do it.
Right, and this is just, it's interesting because this keeping the lights on, you have the two conflicting. One, from a law enforcement, absolutely, it's better to have your porch light on. It's very easy for cops to drive down and see if there's someone on your porch or trying to get in. Sustainability, you are burning electricity, you know, so hopefully what people would do would be LEDs. The very low tempered ones, not the high, whatever, but the yellow ones, whatever. So I think it's one of these things that it kind of depends. I don't keep mine on all night long, but when we're gonna be coming home, we definitely have the light, we leave the lights on, so when you're driving in, you can see there's no one hiding around the corner or anything like that. So I think that's more of a personal choice. Judy?
Just a couple of things up north, they're telling us we should put them on timers. They do want us to have our porch lights on because of, you know, a lot of people live there, not all live there year round, so they're like, they want you to have the lights on in case it looks like you're living there more. So, at home, I have mine on emotion. So if somebody comes to my door, then the light goes on, so that's my door at home.
That's probably the ideal way of doing it.
But I do like the lights on, and my son swears by it, that you need to leave your lights on at night,
Yeah.
but, that's one thing. But the only other one that I was thinking was maybe Optimus, that they would give some money. I know, I'm just trying to think who else would
We
sponsor.
targeted a couple insurance companies
Oh,
first, because
yeah.
we thought they were the best partners. And there are some insurance companies that have co-ops. I've already talked to my wife's employer, they're potentially going to West Bend Mutual, which is a bigger place. So
Yeah.
I don't think it helps them.
Keep thinking for sponsors.
So,
Yeah, sorry, one more thing.
oh, go ahead.
I mean, maybe this is a good collab between sustainability and public safety, where we can come up with, we were talking about a policy or some way in which the village can help people update their lighting around their homes. So this might be a good way to do that through public safety at the same time. So this is my last thought.
Absolutely. All right, so do we have a motion? Okay, so the
I
motion
don't
would
think
be to tell public safety to continue to work on that and get the sponsors, and that the village is willing to put in $500 towards it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Is that what you were wanting, Doug, or were you wanting an approval? Because you want to hand these out at National Night Out, right,
Well,
on
that
the
is
4th?
the approvals. But,
Oh, to have it go back to try to get more sponsors?
well, yeah,
Oh.
the plan's not done yet.
Oh,
As we submitted it, we have to get 2 more spots.
Yeah.
oh,
We
I
approved
got you.
this plan at public safety and brought it to the-
Oh, your
So-
plan is to get, so if you don't get 2 more sponsors, then it doesn't really go anywhere then?
No, I'm not concerned about that. I'm gonna get 2 more spots.
Okay. I was just-
I don't-
Yeah.
And I respect and hear what you're saying on the lighting. I think.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if people want to be sustainable, they don't have to keep their lights on because
Yeah.
there's a sign in front of them that says.
Right,
lights
or
on.
we go to the motion, which is kind of
Yeah.
that compromise, and that's what we encourage, you know.
Lights out for safety.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so can I have a motion?
Say only keep your lights on at night.
I'm turning my backyard. lights on.
Yeah. Hey, Doc, what-
Day.
Can you make the motion for this?
Yeah, I don't.
Why don't you make the motion, then we'll get it right.
I will recommend, or I'll make the motion that the board approve the $500 and details as presented from the public safety committee.
Very good. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No, I'm good. It sounds like I'm not gonna get the lights off of there or change the wording. There's straw poll wise, you don't, it's not gonna.
My lights are going on.
You're gonna see that in a number of things coming up.
I said
There's-
they can get rid of the street light at the end of my street just for you. so won't leave the lights on.
And this
Okay.
is a permanent program. This is.
Yeah, I under-
To be able to engage more people, and a next batch of signs that we hold, we could make an adjustment.
However, if you're gonna have to put sponsors on there anyway, couldn't you rephrase it like porch lights on for safety? Instead, I don't know.
We can rephrase everything.
thing, yeah.
And I think sometimes we get too into our board changing things that committees have already vetted.
Okay.
But it doesn't hurt, the more eyes that you look at something, the better product you get. So I don't want to discourage people from tweaking things that come through here. I think committees make recommendations, we look at it, and I think tweaks are fine, you know? I don't want to discourage that because you get a better product. Someone can, numerous times, people have come up with good ideas to make things better.
I'm not trying to discourage the comments of the
Yeah.
discussion, I'm just trying to get something done. And
Yeah.
I do think encouraging things discourages things, you know. I think it's a good product and I think it'll be a program that is wisely done with a quarter of the printing cost. we would pay for it.
All right, any other discussion on this?
Does it matter? We don't know where the money's coming from now or no?
Well,
I don't-
well, we do know, she's gonna pull it together from either a couple other things. I'm gonna definitely, we'll talk about, this committee needs to know what the plan is for that 9,000. If we can get some of that, we'll do it, but it sounds like we can cover this within our budget without having to
Okay.
go and take it from the fund balance, so that's important.
And this is only a $500 commitment.
it's
for the
right.
Village.
Not a
Yeah.
lot, I just.
No, but
Doesn't
that's a
matter.
valid question. But we're leaving it up to staff to kind of piece it together instead of sitting here, $100 from here, $100 from there. Let staff do that. We know it's not coming out of the fund balance, so it's not hurting our bottom line. It's savings that have been made throughout this first 6 months. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Number 8, discussion and possible action regarding the Village of Cross Plains annex to the Dane County Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan. We've been working on this for a very long time. Some board members kind of remember we brought it back probably 6-7 months. Bill was leading it. So this is kind of, they have accepted it. So they just need us to approve it, be part of it, and it should, if they get funding, open us up to be able to get some funding for emergency management. So can I have a motion, please?
Yeah, I'll move to approve village board adoption of the resolution, which will allow Dane County Emergency Management staff to submit for final FEMA approvals.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, same, so move. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Get to your ball game. You'll make it in time.
They're just warming up now.
Yeah.
For their plan, they've been winning a lot.